Lori Mason, and I'm the foster care coordinator for Regional Animal Services of King County.
What's your job entail?
Well, I actually have two jobs there, but for the foster care coordinator, my job is to get every animal into a foster home that needs to be fostered. And my other position is I am a licensed veterinarian technician, so I also work in the spay-neuter clinic.
What is fostering?
Fostering is a program designed to get animals out of the shelter that are either too young for surgery, injured, sick for whatever reason, and then they go into a home where they recover or they get bigger, and then once they're at that stage, then the foster parent brings them back to the shelter for adoptions or surgery or whatever placement is next for the animal.
When did the shelter start fostering?
I think it was 2000. I started in 2000. They had a foster program prior to me, but it was very, very small. And then we just kind of took it to a new level when I got there. So I started taking over the foster program in 2000.
How many animals are fostered about a year?
Right now, a little over 1,400.
How do you feel about the fostering program?
I love the foster program. We couldn't do it without the foster parents. It's amazing. I get to work with amazing people. I can't say anything bad about them. They're all just wonderful.
Why is fostering important?
Because it gets the animals out of the shelter. Those kittens should not have to be raised in the shelter. Injured animals should not have to recover in the shelter. It's every time a kitten is sitting there, they're exposed to getting a disease. So the sooner we can get them out of there and into the hands of a caring foster parent, that is what's best. A lot of them need help eating through the middle of the night, or some of them need physical therapy when they're injured. And the shelter staff, we just don't have time for that. So that's where the foster parents care for them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm Shauna and I volunteer at the Regional Animal Services of King County.
Why have you chosen this job?
Because I love animals. I foster kittens and adult cats, and I introduce cats to potential adopters.
What's a typical day in the shelter for you?
Usually it's pretty calm, but other than that, when it gets busy is around on Saturdays and Sundays.
What happens on Saturdays and Sundays?
Usually during kitten season, it gets really busy. Like sometimes the lobby is usually really full, or sometimes fight actually break out.
How does someone become a foster parent?
There is a volunteer orientation that you have to go to first, and then they'll tell you about the fostering, and then if you want to foster, you have to go to a different orientation.
How often do animals in foster get placed in homes?
Mostly very often, if not through a year. If they're there for longer than a couple months, the cats that are in the adoption building can go into foster homes to get out of the cage.
How often do fostered animals get adopted?
Pretty often. Usually some people either adopt them out from their homes, or they can bring them back to the shelter, and that's where they're put until they're adopted. Yes, they usually put animals with medical issues in foster program for the first amount until it's more of an exam period, so they can see how much they need attention through their life. There is a few. There is FIV, which means feline immune immunity virus, which means they're just like kittens. They have a weak immune system. And then there's FELV, which is feline leukemia. And hyperthyroid means that they just can't keep weight on. But mostly, they're just put in foster care or in the cages till they're adopted.
How are these cats taken care of compared to a healthy cat?
Just the same. It doesn't affect them at all. It just lets them be out in a home for a while.
You adopt the animal that you foster.
Yes, you can, but then you'd be considered a foster failure, and sometimes Lori will get angry and say that you can't foster anymore.
Can others adopt the animal that you foster?
Yes, they can adopt from home or they can adopt from the shelter.
What's the adoption process?
Adoption process is if you want to adopt them from home, you can put them on a large piece of paper with some pictures of them and write about them, like how old they are or what their attitude is or if they're affectionate or not. And then if you want to adopt from the shelter, it would turn into a meet and greet, which the volunteers will, if the volunteers and the potential adopters want to look at a certain cat, the volunteers will bring them to a certain cat that fits their needs.
What happens to the animals that are not adopted?
No matter what, we're a no-kill shelter, and so they're put in foster homes throughout until they're adopted.
How do you feel about the foster program?
It gets them out of the cages, which sometimes cats are there for a long period of time, and we don't want them in the cages for longer than a couple months.
Why do you feel fostering is?
To get them out of the cages, and sometimes when the older cats are put in foster care, you can see what their real personality is like. Instead, usually in a cage, they can be scared and terrified. Once you bring them into a home, they could be loving and affectionate.
Just tell me more about the meet and greet process.
Meet and greet process is when a potential adopter comes in. If we are sitting down, we have to automatically stand up and greet them, and then offer to show them the rooms. Like there's the main adoption room, which has cats on either side, and then there's the colony room, which holds cats that have been in cages longer than they should be, so it gives them time to meet with other cats to see if they're good with cats. And then we have a new room, which is becoming a catio. It means that we're going to cut out part of the wall, and it's going to be like if you were to let a cat outside, but they can't go farther than that. And then if they find a cat that they like, they can come and fill out the adoption form. It's their name, driver's license, address, the cats they've had in the last 5 years, what happened to them, what type of cat they are, and then if they're going to declaw them. We're against declawing because it can throw off their attitude. And then if they fill out the form and find a cat they like, they can greet with that cat, meaning that they can pet it. We open the cage for them. They can pet it, they can hold it, see how it interacts with their family. And then they can take the form. There's a paper that says everything about the cat and the medical forms and all of that. And then they take their adoption paper and that paper from the cat and they take it over to the main building and they pay for it there, and when they come back, their cat will be ready for them to take home.